everyone, if you're new here, my name is Shayna and I do a ton of different content, but today we are going to be doing my first signs of pregnancy. I am currently 7 weeks and 1 day pregnant. I did a very similar video to this with my daughter Emery, who is 2.5 years old, and a little bit about my history is I have been pregnant 4 times. This is my 4th pregnancy, but I do only have 1 earth-side baby. I did have 2 pregnancy losses in 2021. I usually know fairly early that I'm pregnant. This go around I did kind of second guess myself a lot because I was super nervous and really scared. I didn't think that I would be this scared to be pregnant again, considering I've been preparing and just felt ready for the past few months. So when we did start trying and I felt that first sign of pregnancy, it kind of freaked me out just a little bit because I was nervous about it. I do not ever want to lose another baby. I guess the first sign of pregnancy was really sore boobs, and that was honestly my first sign of pregnancy with my daughter, but I really thought this was all in my head. It was around the end of the 2nd week of May, which is when I started feeling it, which I would have been like 4 weeks pregnant. My app and all of my dates are correct. I have not had my first ultrasound, so I could be wrong, but according to all of my apps, I am 7 weeks and 1 day. So that would have put me at 4 weeks pregnant around that time, but I thought that it was in my head. I was second guessing myself. I was making my boobs sore because I wanted to be pregnant, or I thought I was pregnant, you know, that kind of thing. Sign that really got me was yellow discharge. That could be a sign of infection, all that stuff, but when I did further research on it, I was like, this is a sign of implantation bleeding. With Emery, I did spot. I actually bled just like a little bit, like spotting. I have not bled at all this pregnancy. In the past 7 weeks, I have not one drop of blood has come out. I've not had a cycle since the beginning of April. So the yellow discharge was the sign of implantation. I didn't bleed, but it is a sign of that, like kind of like blood going in there. That's what the yellow discharge is. And that was on May 5th was when I noticed that. Same week that I was feeling sore breasts for the first time, but I wasn't thinking that it was real. And a week or so after that, around 5 and 6, I started feeling so freaking exhausted. To this day, I'm still tired off and on. I feel like I was more tired with Emery than I am with this one. So it could be mindset as well, because I'm like, have a lot going on at work. I have a lot more responsibility than what I did 3 years ago at work, plus having responsibility of a toddler and just more responsibilities in general. So I feel like it's also mindset that can deal with that exhaustion. Obviously, your body's still tired, and mentally I'm still tired, but I feel like I keep going and push myself more than I had before, which is why I felt more exhausted and tired then than I do now. Obviously, I'm only 7 weeks, and within the next couple weeks, I could definitely be feeling a lot more exhausted than I had over the past few ones as the baby is growing more and more and more. This is the most important time, the first trimester of growing your child, and that baby's really taking all of me so that baby can grow. And then I definitely had severe mood swings around 4 and 5 weeks. So that was when I started to get very anxious, very stressed, and very scared about being pregnant, because it was the first signs of like pregnancy that I had was the sore breast and then the discharge, and I was starting to feel tired, and I knew my cycle was supposed to be starting, and it just made me anxious. And then it didn't start. Like my cycle was supposed to start the day that my husband and I were in Carowinds on May 10th. That was like my birthday trip that we had to reschedule and go late. It didn't start that day, and I started having sore breasts that week prior before we left, and I was like, oh my god, what if I'm pregnant? Cycle did not start that day, and that's when things I started to kind of spiral and go down this rabbit hole where I was really anxious and really scared about being pregnant and bleeding and losing another baby. So I was definitely all in my head at that point, and I was definitely having very bad mood swings. My husband did not get the brunt of it because he works a lot and I work a lot, and it was mainly like while I was at work. So my manager basically got the brunt of that because me and her talked about that. She knew I was trying to get pregnant, and I kind of just vented to her about how I was feeling. So that definitely was a big one. That I don't remember having with Emery. I was just so completely at peace with that pregnancy. That pregnancy was definitely a faith-based, faith-walked pregnancy. This one was a little bit different. I obviously still have my faith. I still have my beliefs and everything, but it was just my first pregnancy after my miscarriages. It was different because I was trusting God wholly in that situation, and let's just say that I had a blessing come upon me before I was pregnant, and that kind of just gave me all the peace that I needed. I felt the Lord's hands on me, and this time, he's still with me and everything. He's never gonna leave me, but it's just a different type. I had to go through that fear and work through that fear and learn to give it all to God and to completely trust him with this pregnancy. As the last one, I didn't feel fear at all. I just completely gave it to him from the very beginning before I was even pregnant. And this time I think I was jumping in so fast with wanting to get pregnant again and have our, make our family complete, that I just didn't stop and like actually pray about it. It took me a few to work through all that. And now that I have, I feel a lot more confident, a lot better, which is why I finally tested, because it did take me a while to finally take a pregnancy test, even though I started feeling pregnant weeks before I tested, and I tested a few days ago, this past Sunday, and today is Wednesday. And then around week 6, last week, the beginning of last week, full on pregnancy symptoms, cravings, stomach pains, nausea, which a part of me is also like, oh my God, am I working that up in my head because I'm so nervous to be nauseous, because nausea is one of the things that I just cannot handle. I've never been able to handle nausea, like, at all. So with Emery, my daughter, it wasn't that bad. I was nauseous off and on, but I never threw up anything. And it was like, I think around 8 weeks is when the nausea started. So before then, I didn't really feel any nausea, but I'm only 7 weeks and I started feeling a little bit weird last week. But again, it also could have been like my fear of like feeling nauseous could have just projected it onto myself. So I've definitely been feeling odd. It's not like the full on nausea, but it's definitely if I don't eat, I'm going to feel sick. My stomach feels funny sort of thing. Stomach pains and stuff like that, hunger. But the cravings went on full strength last week. Okay. When I tell you I wanted Subway and pizza at the same time, Brandon said something about these like frozen cheeseburgers that you can like buy in bulk at Sam's or something, that I used to get when I was in school, that the kitchen would buy in bulk and you could buy them, which are so good. And yes, I know they're frozen cheeseburgers are not good for you at all, but he had mentioned that he went to go look for this for me, but he couldn't find them. And I was like full on like, excuse me, why would you say that to me? Because now all I want is that, and I want it right now, legitimately. And then like a coworker brought in a Caesar salad and some fried chicken fingers yesterday, and I was like, oh my God, I want that so bad, like so bad. And steak, I wanted steak so bad. Like, so yes, the cravings have come on full swing. And in between all of this, my boobs have continued to hurt. Signs of pregnancy, the boobs have been sore every single day of every single week. They haven't been like, which is why I second guessed myself a lot in the beginning, because they haven't been like, oh my God, they hurt. Oh, don't touch them, they hurt. It's been more subtle than that. Now it's obviously more prominent, and they are definitely more sore. I think some more sore on certain days than others, but that's like one of the main pregnancy symptoms that has followed me from my last pregnancy into this one. That's usually the first sign that I'm like, oh yeah, I'm definitely pregnant. So those were all of my first signs of pregnancy, from the first one at 4 weeks to now I'm at 7 weeks and I officially know that I'm pregnant. Follow along with me on my first trimester journey. I'm really excited to do that. I'm putting most of my details here about what I knew before I knew I was pregnant, if that makes sense. So it's not like all bombarding to the next video. And I'm also going to reference this video in that video as well, so that you guys can come back and watch it. So I hope you guys liked this, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye.